Welcome to Behind the Badge. I'm your host, Chief David Malloy, Director of Public Safety for the City of Novi. I'm honored to be joined on set today with Joe Shelton, our Fire Marshal with the City of Novi. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you very much, sir.
Why don't you tell the viewing audience, Joe, a little bit about your background, your education, and some of the positions you've held within the organization, and what your current role is.
Well, I started with the Novi Fire Department in 1985 as a paid-on-call firefighter, and had the great opportunity to go career in 1988, so I'm going on almost my 27th year here with the fire department. Grew up in Novi high school graduate. Been to several of the community colleges and Eastern Michigan University. Gained a lot of experience and knowledge on the fire department through the different programs and educational process there. I'm currently the fire marshal. I was also held the position of lieutenant in different levels of supervision. When I had the opportunity to become fire marshal, I was the nighttime supervisor. So there's a lot of operational experience that we can apply in fire prevention, knowing that how the fire prevention programs work. We used to always have the inspectors out in the field, but Novi uses what's called the company-based fire inspection program, which is our engine companies are actually in their districts doing the inspections in those buildings and occupancies.
So like during the day, yes, we answer calls, yes, we respond to emergency situations, but we're also out in 12 Oaks Mall, we're also out at Walmart, we're out at Suburban Collection Showplace. Tell the viewing audience a little bit about what our men and women are looking for.
Well, they're doing what we call the routine fire prevention inspections, and they're done on an annual basis within our communities. And that our goal is to try to get in every building at least once a year on some type of inspection process. They're enforcing the International Fire Code in our community on these commercial businesses. They're looking for some of the basic fire prevention things like housekeeping. Are there systems or fire systems that the building has been designed or built with? Are they up to standard? Have they been inspected and are properly certified? They're looking at egress routes and those life safety issues that are all most important. Can we get in the buildings and can we get out of them safely?
Yeah, and I think it's important for the audience to understand is if we issue a violation, it's not like police where you get a ticket, a violation. It's where we just put you on notice that you have to remove these chairs from the egress area. You have to allow, or you have to have your fire extinguisher up to date. But then we come back in 10 to 14 days, and when that's corrected, the violation goes away.
That's correct. You know, we consider every fire violation serious, but we look at the life safety issues as being most important. Most of our fire violations, when they're found by our inspectors in the field or the firefighters in the field, are usually corrected on the exact same day. They help the business owner or the occupant resolve that fire prevention issue. They'll actually help them, move the furniture, make sure the exits are working appropriately. We want it to be an educational process, and we found this to be the best approach. We've been at this for quite a few years, and actually our business owners know what to expect when our firefighters come in. They try to make it an educational program and experience for them.
And I think what's really great is in terms of economic development, because we all play a role in economic development. We used to have a business registration where businesses would have to come in and give us address, phone numbers, emergency contacts, and they would have to pay a fee. That all went away because we have all this data that the men and women in the fire service are already gathering during these company-based inspections.
Yeah, as part of the inspection process, so we can know who to contact in case of emergency, so we're familiar with the business owners. They carry laptops actually with them, and all this information is gathered at the time. It's our information or property updates, and during the inspection, all that's taken care of, and we have that available for any city employee that wants to take a look at that.
That gets shared with the Emergency 911 Dispatch Center. It gets shared with the City Clerk's Office. Our Neighborhood and Business Relations Group gets shared with our Economic Development Director, so he and his staff know when they go out there some of the updated information for some of their retention and recruitment visits. So it's just a great way of not only keeping Novi safe, it keeps our fire personnel engaged, it keeps them connected with the community, and more importantly, tell the audience how many of those we do a year.
We try to get into about 1,500 frontline inspections done every year. So we have roughly around 3,000 inspectable properties. They can do anywhere from 1,500 frontline inspections, and then 200 to 300 specialty inspections are usually, so the firefighters are pretty busy. And that's not including what the fire prevention office or the fire marshal may be handling on top of that. So that's exactly 18 to 2,000 visits by our firefighters to our community. So
That's amazing, and that's why
wonderful.
I think we can be proud of not only our ISO rating to keep insurance rates down, but also, you know, we have a slight uptick in fires this year, but they're not the residential structure fires. It's car fires and some careless cooks and things like that. But that's what we're doing, and that's what you're doing to keep Novi safe.
Yeah, we're truly lucky that we have these men and women able to go out there, and they're very well educated and have a lot of experience, and they apply that towards these businesses. And we're very fortunate to have a low fire count in the city.
A big part of your job as well is working with our community development department and our plan review center.
Yes.
Tell the audience that they may not understand how we're also in on the front end of new development coming in. Explain that process and how you're involved in that.
Yeah, we work hand in hand with our building department, our community development. We are in constant contact with them with not only new development or new buildings that are being built, but as you know, everything has to be permitted, it has to have fire code, and if you look at how any building is built, it's built for safety, whether it be structurally or for the fire systems that are involved. So we're involved in the building process right from conceptual stage, and the systems that are designed or required are all inspected by not only the building department but the fire department. So we do work real close with them. Sometimes they find, and they do their inspections, they find problems in the community that may be fire related or something we can help them with. And so we do vice versa when we're on our inspections.
Yeah, and I think that's great because we currently have some projects ongoing right now. The Suburban Collection Showplace, building a 6-story hotel. It's going to be a gem for our community, yet that's something that you, Fire Protection Officer Christensen, Fire Protection Officer Copeland, you all are reviewing plans virtually on a weekly basis.
Yeah, we'll see the plans. They constantly come in as those systems are designed and developed by the architects or the designers. We help review those, make sure that they're put into the standards that we have adopted here in the city. And we also conduct the field inspections to make sure that they've been installed. So a project like that, it's a neat opportunity for our firefighters to get in and make sure that the fire building and the building is fire safe from the beginning.
Yeah,
so
that's the stuff that I would hazard to venture a guess that 90% of our viewing audience had no idea that we're involved in that stuff from the get-go, from the sprinkler pipes that are installed to the inspection to the any type of suppression system that's going on.
Right down to the furniture and finishes. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a very important part of making sure the community's fire safe.
Great. We're going to take a quick break from Behind the Badge, and we'll be back with Fire Marshal Joe Shelton to talk about Fire Prevention Month in October. So stay tuned.
Additional resources like your mutual aid from the city of Novi at this time.
Well, not everyone can be a firefighter. There's a proud few.
It's definitely a job that there's times your adrenaline rushes.
There's plenty to learn, lots of things to do, and it's great fun doing it.
Maybe you see something suspicious, but you don't want to get involved. It's nothing, you think. Can you be sure? If you see something, say something. Report suspicious activity to local authorities.
Welcome back to Behind the Badge. We're still joined here by Fire Marshal Joe Shelton of the Novi Fire Department. Joe, talk to us a little about, we're in the fall season now, October's just begun. What's the significance of October in the fire service?
Well, traditionally, 1 week in October is set aside as the Fire Prevention Week, and we look at that as a national time to reflect on fire prevention within our communities. Here in the Novi Fire Department, we'll be having several things going on Facebook, but we always try to spread the message that fire prevention should be handled every day throughout the year. So.
And I know next week, October 7th through the 13th, is the designated week nationally for the fire service, and we're going to be getting those messages out as we do throughout the year. This year we've chosen a theme, and I think it's a national theme. Can you explain to the viewing audience what that theme is?
Every year, the National Fire Protection Agency, who we coordinate some of our prevention programs through, has a theme, and this year it's 2 ways out, be rabbit ready. Even a rabbit has 2 ways out of his burrow. And what that reflects on is always have a plan wherever you may be, your home, your hotel, businesses you're in, and how to get out 2 ways.
Yeah. In the event of a fire, no 2 ways to get out.
Yeah, no way 2 ways.
Outstanding. Also, this month we have a lot of kids that are going back to school. Novi teens who are going back across not only the state but across the country. What's the message that we want to send with them when they're going back to college?
Well, what we'd like to do is, you know, as our children grow up, obviously we see them in the schools and in our prevention programs throughout their you know, their career and education here, but we don't want them to lose the message. They're becoming adults now, and they're becoming more responsible for their own actions. So we like to place on, you know, when they do get that freedom, they're on their own now, not to forget the fire prevention, and that is 2 ways out. Know where your surroundings are. We may be living in dorms, different housing on and off campus. Just be aware of where you're at. The 2 ways out applies wherever you're at. And smoking, sometimes they get away from mom and dad, and never smoke where you're sleeping. Always smoke outside and have a place to put your cigarettes. If any of the dorm rooms are like my daughter's, there's not enough electrical outlets. So we see a lot of electrical overload. Advise them, and as a parent, make sure that when you're checking on your child, they haven't overloaded everything. If they have heaters, if they have electrical devices, make sure they're UL approved. Make sure that if there's any extension cords, they're designed for what they're going to be used with.
Yeah. I think another big component for dorms and just for home safety too is a lot of people like to burn candles, and that can be very, very dangerous, and we've seen that in our community.
Yeah, candles remain one of the leading causes of fire in America. We have a fixation with candles, and a lot of kids like to burn them in their rooms, whether it be for odor problems or for just the look of it being cool and being on their own. And our advice is never ever have a candle, not in a dorm setting. Remember, that's a little mini community that the children are living in, or our young adults are living in, and they have a greater responsibility for fire safety when they're in those.
And I think I think people lose track, particularly like in dorm rooms or even in apartment complexes where we have these multi-family dwellings. It's not just your home, but that fire, that has the ability sometimes to spread, to get up into the rafters and in the roof line and spread rather rapidly.
And those fires can be quite devastating, and as you said, it happened quite quickly. When we look at our apartments now in our community, especially Novi, they're not as new as they used to be. So wear and tear on those things, it's always extremely important that not only the landlords and the property owners, but the firefighters get in and conduct those inspections to make sure everything is the way it was supposed to be when it was built. You know, we look at one of the issues you and I have talked and discussed about is barbecues in our multi-residence. Our fire code states that they can't have a barbecue on the balconies. They have to be 10 feet away. They can't store the propane on the balconies. Extremely dangerous situation, and one only has to Google or look at YouTube real quickly, and they can find how devastating those fires can be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Later on this month, we will be winding our clocks back as part of the daylight savings time. And what's the message that the Novi Fire Department wants to send out at that time?
It's always check your smoke detectors, and you'll probably hear our gentleman out in the field, or myself, or even you say check your smoke detectors probably after every speech. But this is the time of year that we want to make sure our smoke detectors are working, that the batteries have been changed. And it's also a good time to conduct a routine fire inspection of your own property or home. If you have any difficulty with that or have any questions, by all means call the Fire Prevention Division or your local fire station. They'll be welcome to help you.
We are more than willing. We do home fire safety inspections just like we do residential security surveys on the police side to try to keep them safe in their home. We'll also come out. We're not looking to share any information. We're not looking to be intrusive. We just want to show you, some people store paints next to their furnaces. Some people, another leading cause of fires are dryer fires. A lot of people aren't emptying those lint traps, and as it's getting cooler, we need to be cognizant of that, because that too is another cause of major structure fires.
Yeah, and it has to do with complacency, and I'm sure I'm just as guilty as anybody else out there. When you live in your own home, you forget about some of these items, and it's always a good time to have somebody come in and take a different look at it and a perspective. and freshen up your fire prevention program and safety program at home. And again, our residence is always one of the most dangerous places we're at,
Yep.
and our garages are one of the most dangerous places for hazardous material. So fall's a good time to clean out your garage, make sure things are fire safe, and look for a drop-off in your community for some of those items.
Speaking of which, drop-off in our community, the City of Novi this weekend, Household Hazardous Waste Day at the Novi Civic Center.
Great program.
And big program, and if you have those paints that you want to get rid of or those chemicals, more than happy to dispose of. But yeah, the message, always change those batteries when you're winding those clocks back or setting them forward. Another initiative, Joe, that I know you were involved in as a lieutenant, again now as a fire marshal, is we have a program if someone can't afford a smoke detector. Tell the viewing audience how we can get them one.
And everybody's heard the message, and a smoke detector is our first line and sometimes our only line of alarm in our homes if we do have a fire emergency. Here in the city of Novi, we seek some money out from grants, and we have some people who are capable of donating, and the fire department has purchased smoke detectors. We have them on every one of our frontline units. All our people are trained. When they go into a home, sometimes if they suspect that the smoke detectors aren't working, whether it be a medical emergency, a lift assist, our firefighters are checking those smoke detectors. And I know you urge it, I urge it too. If they don't have a working smoke detector, we will replace it for free.
Yeah, that's and actually we purchased those with dollars from our emergency run in May. The partnership we have with police, fire, and Providence Park Hospital, the doctors there. All the proceeds from that run are used to buy smoke detectors, to replenish, and to keep our community safe. So thank you for leading that program as well.
Not a problem. Extremely, extremely important.
Another thing, later this month, we're going to have hundreds and sometimes thousands of little ghosts and goblins patrolling our area. Also another good reminder for fire safety.
Yeah, a good time of the year, and we forget about those seasonal things that cause or have increase in fires or emergencies or even injuries. As the Halloween is quickly approaching, we love to decorate, and I don't like to see those flammable materials around, especially the fronts of houses and the doorways. Although we live in a very wonderful and safe community, it's a bad place for a fire to start. And of course, our front door is always our first way out. Yeah, the use of candles, again, as we talked about, extremely dangerous. I know people put them in their jack-o'-lanterns, but we must urge, and when we talk about the children being safe, is making sure their costumes are fire resistant. I know the costumes that get made sometimes get made from different materials that may not be fire resistant. So making sure the children are aware that to stay away from those jack-o'-lanterns. We always say if you don't use the candles, there's those electronic devices that are UL approved and don't give off any heat.
Absolutely.
And keep the candles away from definitely the hay bales and decorations around in front of your home.
Great tips, great tips. And trick-or-treating hours, October 31st, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the city of Novi. Please make sure that if you're driving through those neighborhoods, if you're coming home from work, keep an eye out for those young people, because sometimes they're darting across the road. You know, parents obviously know where your children are, travel in groups, so there's strength in numbers as well.
Walk with them.
Yeah, walk with them.
Use a flashlight.
Yeah. Well, Fire Marshal Shelton, I want to thank you for appearing here today on Behind the Badge. Your training, your expertise, everything that you've done for 27 years for the city of Novi, it's truly a credit to not only the fire profession, but the public safety field in general. Thank you for your expertise, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you, sir.
And to you, the viewing audience, thank you for tuning in to Behind the Badge. I would urge you to continue to watch Novi Television, and until next time, stay tuned.